Guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on the test server, and that is right guys, the Graveborn engraving is up. So now that we've seen it and we've really broken down, a lot of players have been asking for a guide when it comes to the Graveborn, which we're going to take a look at today. So I hopped over on Reddit. Zappy Slenderman had an awesome guide that I want to go through tonight. Big shout out to him and the amazing visual effects. I suck at Photoshop. I suck at the visual effects. So I am relying on some of the other content creators that we have over on Reddit and Discord to really get this engraving system going and also breaking it down. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look at the guide. All right, guys, so here is the guide, Zappy Slenderman's Engraving Tier List. I absolutely love how he broke this down. It is so easy to read, especially when you're looking at heroes within here. It's not the S, A, B, C tier that he broke it down. So top tier in PvE as we go through this and PvP. So these are the heroes that you do want to max out with the engraving. And we'll go through exactly how much you want to max them out. So looking at the top list, we have Lucretia and Ainz, absolutely heroes you want to max out. But joining them with the new Graveborn engraving is Grez, Silas, and Pharrell. Pharrell, Oden, absolutely seem like they're going to be very strong heroes to max out in here. Grez, of course, we are using him with the Twisted Realm with all of the additional stats and abilities that he's getting from the engraving system, puts him in the top tier. Same with Silas. We know now they're adding a couple new effects with the engraving system, which makes Silas even stronger. And then, of course, Zolrath, when you build him out with signature items and furniture, is super difficult to kill. Now, top tier PvE, we have Raku, we have Kren, and we have Thorin. They are the key for a lot of different team comps. If you've seen the Screg Invade, Kren works very well. Raku has worked into a bunch of different formations just because he puts out an incredible amount of damage, especially if you take him off auto and you manually just let him do his thing, he will destroy. Then, of course, Thorin with the PvE Thorin Cheese aspect. So top tier PvP, remember, this is the player versus player. We have Athalia, Zafrio, we have Respin. They have proven that they are just PvP masters. Anyone, especially like Respin, that adds a lot of haste when you have him built out super strong. Then, of course, Olna, guys. Olna is a top tier in PvP as well as PvE. I'm surprised she's not in the top just because of the Olna Grez combo that we've seen so frequent, and I have used it in an insane amount of formations as well. So mediocre PvE, PvP. You can see Oden fell in here. I'm not sure why he is so low in here because I think he is going to be really strong when it comes to the engraving system. But we have Ezio, Desira, Albedo in here, Ullard, which again in PvE, Damon, and then of course we have the twin beards here with Merlin and with Leonardo. So impactful haste. So these are heroes, again, a lot of people have built these heroes out, especially starting with the twins that we've seen the build when it comes to the engraving system. And then of course the mediocre haste. So just a little bit lower on the tier. And then of course he goes with the niche or the niche, which is Rose, Rowan. Again, some of these seem like it would be a little bit further down the engraving system as we continue down this list. We also do have Iran in here, which again, adding a little bit of haste with the engraving system. We're looking at the stats themselves within there. And then of course, Pippa. PvE, these are really a lot of the key heroes that some players use, especially again with the engraving system. We've seen heroes like Gwen with her stun ability work out very well. Prince of Persia is another one. Maro, Hendrik has really started to shine since the engraving system. And Namisu drops in here to finish out the PvE niche. Now PvP, you can see it's a whole different lineup, which is interesting. We have Arthur, we have Titus, we have Hodgkin, which can work in a couple other places. We have actually seen Granite has shown up everywhere in PvP, as well as a couple other ones, including Scrag, Leica, Lorzan in here as well. Boss hero and faction tower heroes. Couple of these, we got Leah Frick in here. We got Peggy. A lot of light bearers fall in here. Saurus is one that I really want to build. The reason is not only the boss hero, but definitely the Twisted Realm. Now we've seen him in a couple different areas, including the Abyssal Expedition, performed very well, but ultimately I want to build them out for the Twisted Realm and the guild bosses so I can maximize the gold I'm getting out of there. So boss heroes and PvP niche, don't really use either of those, haven't really built them out. And the boss heroes only, these are ones specifically that they use in the Abyssal Expedition, or a couple different places where we've seen them really shine. Tower only, I absolutely agree with most of these. Isolde falls off really hard. Gorvo, the same, it seems like with the new Mishka tank, he might be easily replaced. Kaz is a hero with engraving, seems to work well, but again, it's very niche. Then, of course, we have a couple down here which fall into the trash category. And I love that he gave Walker his own category again, which is where he's at. So the tier list classification. So the haste tiers, these heroes perform all of the meaningful abilities with high amounts of haste. They're also heroes who benefit most from haste. So the more haste that you get from that engraving is going to have the biggest impact. So that is the reason for these haste packs here. So for instance, if you're building out Mortis, if you're building out the engraving on the twins, which again, the haste that they get from the engraving stats themselves are what makes it really big to build them out. So you could even categorize like these 3 sets of haste in doing the impactful first, and then possibly looking at the mediocre or the niche next when it comes to haste. So PvE, PvP, these heroes have decent engraving, but don't outperform the heroes in the top tiers. So when you're engraving or when you're putting time and effort into building the heroes, they're not going to perform. It brings them up to a usable level, but not to a exceptional level. Mediocre PvE and PvP, these heroes very good base kits. Engraving just added more stats to them. Then of course the boss tiers, Abyssal Expedition and the Twisted Realm bosses. Now, some of the clarifications, this is really what I was talking about earlier. So Silas at the engraving plus 60, Gas Cloud gives 10% damage mitigation. Mitigation stacks with other clouds, so that's pretty broken when it comes to the engraving. Silas is going to be one of the top ones. Ulna, more HP defense is crucial. Also increases her damage, which is good. Prince gains life leech from engraving, which can definitely keep him alive when he's chain stunning. Mortis receives attack speed, which is the frequency of the normal attacks. A little bit of a benefit, but ultimately once his ultimate ability is cast, he will not use it anymore, so not a big change there. Moreel, engraving worth it in PvP. Yes, a lot of players do use her, and I've seen a lot of combinations with Ulna and Moreel in the front. Then, of course, Thorin, as we looked at earlier today. Major glyph with attack and accuracy, minor glyphs with accuracy and crit. You want to avoid the crit block resistance because that is going to allow him to take less damage. Now, when you build out these heroes, there is a specific way of you want to build them just based again on the abilities. So what you're going to do is take both tier lists and kind of combine them I mean, that's kind of my thought. So we know what heroes can go to 60 engraving, which really need to go. So I believe he put this kind of in the priority list, just looking at his first list and kind of where these fall. Doesn't seem like maybe all of them, but if you're taking heroes to plus 60, you know, we have Lucretia right here. Athalia does very well in PvP. Ainz, Grez, and so on and so forth right here. These are the heroes that could benefit most from that plus 60 engraving. Engraving 41 to 44. This is specific to heroes that gain haste or a certain buff from that engraving level. Plus 30, which is a whole nother scale of heroes that you just want to do plus 30. Plus 60 engraving on those is not a big priority. Lower engraving, plus 13 for haste, focus, and accuracy between these heroes. Again, Iran is not a hero you're going to take much higher. They need to fix some of the engraving for some of these heroes. Then, of course, we have a whole bottom level that we just kind of ignore because it's not super beneficial to go ahead and build them out. Now, Thorin's engraving can take taken to E60 for PvP. Why is there no E80? So we know, similar to signature items, going from 30 to 40 is super expensive. Going from 60 to 80 is super expensive, only reserved for whales. So what does the second list depict? Second list shows the minimal optimal breakpoints for the hero's engraving. Having a hero lower than an optimal breakpoint is not an issue. So most of these heroes will perform well without having the engraving system. I mean, it's something that is really just adding stats and abilities, kind of small abilities, to a majority of these heroes. So overall, they don't need the engraving system, and it's not taking the heroes to a super broke level to just absolutely run over the campaign. But the engraving system has allowed us to see higher level deficiencies than we have ever seen in the past, guys. So I hope this really made a lot of sense, and you can utilize the guide and see exactly how you are going to do it. Again, I was going to put together a tier list when I hopped on Reddit. I seen it over there. There's no reason to just break it up a little bit different with the formation. I love the combination of how Zappy put this together, and how it looks visually is awesome. So again, a big shout out to him. I will put a link down to his guide right down below. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.